The response was swift and passionate. Across the continent, citizens and leaders alike questioned the move, calling it unjust, discriminatory, and deeply disrespectful. For Chad, a nation with a proud history of resilience, this was more than a bureaucratic decision. It was an attack on its dignity. President Idris Deby Itno answered the call. With calm determination, he announced that Chad would suspend visa issuance to U.S. citizens. A bold and symbolic act, one that captured the attention of Africa and the world. And through this action, Chad reminded everyone, mutual respect must be the foundation of all international relations. In a world where influence is too often measured in dollars and military might, President Idris Deby Itno offered a powerful reminder. Chad has neither planes to offer nor billions of dollars to give, but Chad has its dignity and pride. These words resonated far beyond Chad's borders. They echoed through the streets of African cities. They were shared across social media, and they inspired countless people who saw in Deby's statement a reflection of their own values. Dignity is priceless. And in standing firm, Deby became a symbol of a broader movement, one where African nations demand to be treated with the respect they deserve. Chad's bold move did not stand alone. Across the continent, leaders took notice, and they began to voice their own convictions. In Namibia, President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah stood in solidarity with Chad. She has long championed African agency, sovereignty, and unity. Now, she made it clear. Namibia supports those who defend the dignity of the African people. This alliance between Chad and Namibia is more than diplomatic. It is a testament to the growing spirit of African solidarity, a movement where nations stand together, not divided. Because when Africa speaks with one voice, the world must listen. In Burkina Faso, a new generation of leadership is rising. Captain Ibrahim Traoré, young, dynamic, and unapologetically African, has captured the imagination of his people and the continent. Like Chad and Namibia, Traoré's Burkina Faso is choosing courage over compliance. He is calling for a new Africa, one that refuses to bow to external pressure, one that charts its own path, based on the dreams and aspirations of its people. When Traoré aligned with Chad and Namibia on this issue, the message became even clearer. A new era of African leadership is here, an era of pride, sovereignty, and unity. But to truly understand this moment, we must look to the past. Africa's struggle for sovereignty is written in its history, from colonial conquest to the long fight for independence. For decades, the continent's voice was ignored, its people marginalized, yet the spirit of resistance endured. And today, that spirit is rising once again. The actions of Chad, Namibia, and Burkina Faso are modern expressions of a timeless truth. Africa will not be defined by others. Africa will define itself. And this moment is another step in that ongoing journey toward true freedom. There is immense power in solidarity. When African nations support one another, they amplify their voices on the world stage. The unity we are witnessing today between Chad, Namibia, and Burkina Faso has sparked conversations across the African Union and beyond. This is not just symbolic. It is a foundation upon which future collaborations can be built. In trade, diplomacy, education, and cultural exchange. Solidarity transforms individual acts of courage into a continental movement for change. And it sends a message to the world. Africa will no longer stand divided. Africa's diaspora, spread across the globe, plays a vital role in this movement. Millions of Africans living abroad serve as cultural ambassadors and passionate advocates for their homelands. When Chad made its decision, the diaspora responded. Social media lit up with messages of support. Diaspora communities organized rallies, campaigns, and online discussions, amplifying the message of dignity and pride. Through their voices, the diaspora strengthens this movement. They remind the world that African pride knows no borders, and that the bonds of heritage and identity are unbreakable. Of course, bold decisions are not without their challenges. Critics argue that reciprocal visa bans may hurt ordinary citizens, students, business people, and families. Others caution against creating unnecessary divisions in an interconnected world. But supporters of Chad's decision, and of African solidarity, argue that dignity must always come first. Without mutual respect, no true partnership can exist. Navigating this complex reality will require wisdom, diplomacy, and vision. But one thing is certain: Africa is no longer willing to accept disrespect. And leaders like Déby, Nandine Ndaitwah, and Traoré are showing that it is possible to stand firm while seeking meaningful dialogue and progress. A new era of African leadership is emerging. It is confident, it is authentic, it is deeply committed to the well-being of the African people. Across the continent, citizens are demanding more from their leaders, not only economic progress, but moral courage and global standing. And the path forward is clear. Africa must speak with one voice, a voice guided by its values, a voice rooted in its rich history, a voice that looks boldly to the future. From Chad's proud stand, to Namibia's unwavering solidarity, to Burkina Faso's youthful defiance, Africa is writing a new chapter, one where dignity is non-negotiable, one where sovereignty is celebrated, one where African nations rise, not alone, but together. As this movement unfolds, let us remember, the true greatness of Africa lies not in its wealth, but in the indomitable spirit of its people. That spirit is alive today, and it is unstoppable. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to Make Africa Great for more inspiring stories from across our beautiful continent. Together, we rise. As this story continues to unfold, another crucial question emerges. The United States has not only imposed a travel ban. In recent years, it has also reduced or cut aid to several African nations, citing shifting priorities, governance concerns, and strategic interests. On the surface, these decisions may seem like standard diplomatic tools, but for many African citizens and leaders, they represent something deeper, a test of Africa's resilience, and an opportunity to redefine its future. For decades, much of Africa's relationship with the United States was shaped through foreign aid, billions of dollars flowing into healthcare, education, and infrastructure projects. Yet, while aid played an important role in development, it also came with strings attached, and at times, the perception of dependency. In recent years, Washington's approach has changed. Aid has been reduced. Military partnerships have shifted. And now, with the travel ban, some African nations feel a growing sense of disengagement and marginalization. This shift forces a crucial question. Should Africa continue to rely on aid and external partnerships that can be withdrawn at any moment? Or should it chart a new path of self-reliance and intra-African cooperation? In the face of aid cuts and travel bans, many African voices are calling for unity like never before. Why? Because adversity often breeds strength. Across the continent, leaders, entrepreneurs, and ordinary citizens are asking, how can we invest in ourselves? How can we build regional value chains, fund our own development, and stand together in global forums? Movements like the African Continental Free Trade Area are part of this response, creating new pathways for intra-African trade and economic resilience. Pan-African institutions are being strengthened, and voices of unity, like those from Chad, Namibia, and Burkina Faso, are inspiring millions. The time for dependency is over. The time for African greatness is now. The question remains, will Africa unite and make Africa great? It is a question that cannot be answered by politicians alone. It requires every African, from the bustling streets of Lagos to the villages of Mali to the cities of the diaspora. Unity is not just about shared statements or alliances. It is about investing in African solutions to African problems. It is about education, innovation, entrepreneurship, and cultural pride. It is about rejecting narratives of dependency and embracing a future where Africa is a leader on the world stage. And it is about remembering that dignity is not for sale. While the U.S. cuts aid, while it imposes travel bans, Africa has a choice to make: to retreat into old patterns, or to rise into a new era of sovereignty, unity, and self-belief. The choice is clear. Across the continent, a new generation is ready. Young leaders, creators, and innovators are building the Africa they want to see. And as we watch Chad, Namibia, Burkina Faso, and others stand tall, we are reminded that greatness lies within, not in foreign aid, not in external validation, but in the limitless potential of Africa's people. So today we ask you, wherever you are watching this from, will Africa unite? Will Africa rise? Will we make Africa great, not just in words, but in action? The time is now. The world is watching, and Africa is awakening. Together, we rise. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to Make Africa Great for more powerful stories of African pride, unity, and progress. And remember, the future belongs to those who believe in it. Together, we believe. Together, we build. Together, we make Africa great.
Thank you.